Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is your brother Ayash Gabar from the GMS Virginia camp, coming at you with another lesson that I pray that you find edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. And this is going to be a quick hit of uh, uh, um, going into how you have a lot of people dealing with the stresses of, their situation and not knowing how to perceive what's going on in the world today. You see, I've been watching a few videos where, a lot of people have been stating how things are happening so fast. And they don't know how to cope with, how quickly things are changing around them, and it's stressing them out, and then you're dealing with another aspect of it of, a lot of people are being overstressed by, the rising cost of products. The products values are going up, but their wages aren't. And that goes to show that a lot of the people don't understand, the concept of inflation. Because if they understood inflation, then they would clearly understand that the value of the dollar has decreased tremendously. So the amount of dollars it takes to buy a single loaf of bread, which was once $1, is now costing you damn near $3.50. Goes to show you how far the dollar has fallen. And we're very close to an economical collapse. And when that happens, then total chaos. That's on the mindset of a lot of people, and they're stressed behind the overall outcome of where things are going and where things will end up. There's no possibilities in the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It's purely assurities that the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai are faithful and true. So I'm gonna get into this real quick, but I'm gonna break out a precept right quick. The book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 4, and it reads, "But ye brethren are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief." Khan, Yahweh Shem Yahushai has bestowed us with, his word, the the Holy Spirit, to understand what's going on. He has bestowed upon us, the spirit of truth, the spirit of prophecy, to let us know what time that we're in. And we were commanded to go out there on the highways and byways and teach, and warn the people about what time that we're in. And for decades, a lot of people have ignored our prophets, our apostles, and those men on down. They have ignored them, and now these things are right in the people's faces, and the information's out there, and they still don't know how to perceive what's going on. A lot of these people are looking at things at a cardinal level instead of a spiritual level, and that's going to be nothing short of their destruction. So there's this little article I got out of anxietycenter.com, because that's what a lot of people are feeling, anxiety, and a lot of people are stressed over what's going on. So I'm gonna get into this. This is a relatively old article dated October 29th, 2024, but the same still holds true. The same information in this article holds true to what happened in 2024, 2023, 22, 21, 20, 19. It's a document that is holding true on a lot of levels, even today. So, as I said, a lot of people are feeling that stress of everything's happening so fast that they don't know how to absorb all the information that's happening around them, because a lot of this information is happening quickly. So I'm gonna break out a precept on that, because everything could be given through the scriptures. You know, the Bible has an answer for everything. And this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 22. And it reads, "And except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." So everything is happening so quick. To the elect, it's happening the way Yahweh Shai said it was going to happen. But into the uninitiated, everything is happening quickly. Everything is happening so fast that they can't, as I said, absorb the information that's happening around them. So I'm going to get into this article right quick. And it reads, fast forward feeling. Such as feeling like everything is too much, moving too fast, bombarding you with information, overwhelming your senses as if on fast forward, is a common anxiety symptom, including anxiety and panic attack symptoms. The scriptures also say that man's heart should be failing him. So everything is happening so fast that, these people don't know they really don't know what information to pay attention to, because if something happens right now, they'll start to listen to what's happening now, and then within 3 minutes something else would happen, and then they would automatically have to do a brain shift to comprehend what just happened 3 minutes later. And that constant shifting of your thought pattern, that constant shifting of a thought never comes to completion, because you've never even had enough time to comprehend what just happened 5 minutes ago, because something new is constantly happening. And I pray, what I just said makes sense. That's why it takes a very spiritual mind to put all of these things together. I mean, even with us doing the work of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, things are happening so fast, whereas information is coming out so quick, which is why brothers, are paying attention on many different levels. As I've said it before, I'll say it again. You've got some brothers that pay attention to the financial systems. You got brothers that pay attention to the medical systems. You got brothers that pay attention to technology, the medical systems. You got brothers that pay attention to local local information, statewide information, international information. There's brothers out there that's gathering information and relaying them back through the scriptures for the other brothers, to, get an understanding of, and that's why it's very important for you to be on your watch. Now, we understand that all men are not able to go out there on the highways and byways and do what we, the prophets, do, but you are also required to, get this information, comprehend it through the scriptures, and make sure that the information that you're given is right, and then teach the next man, the true doctrine of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So I'm going to go on with this article. The vast majority of anxious people experience a fast forward feeling. This article explains the relationship between anxiety and the fast forward symptoms. Okay? Fast forward common anxiety symptoms descriptions. Your life or life around you feel like it's on fast forward, like things are speeding up and going too fast, feeling too strong and being bombarded with too much information. And that's what this devil likes to do. He likes to bombard you with information where you can't hold the stance on anything you know, that is happening at the moment because he's constantly changing things up. He's constantly hitting you with this situation, that situation, her situation, his situation, our situation, and their situation. He's constantly bombarding you with all types of stuff, to have you have a uneven fitting or a solid ground on anything that's happening. You know, it feels like your senses can't take anymore, or you are experiencing a sensory overload, and that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to overload your senses because the more you concentrate on one thing, the more you'll tend to understand that one thing that you're concentrating on. But if he constantly has your mind in this flip flop dynamic, you can't concentrate or comprehend anything that's happening. And at some point, you're just going to go with the flow. Feeling bombarded with fast moving information, flooding your senses and mind. It feels like life is speeding by and you are having difficulty keeping up and making sense of things. Just what I said. The more he constantly hits you with information to keep your brain preoccupied in other bullshit that don't matter, the more he's able to do things behind the curtains that would alter your ultimate life. That would alter your life, you know. So that's why he likes bread and circus. The bread and circus, which is what keeps you inundated with bullshit. Who gives a fuck about what this star did to that star, or what this actress did to this actor? Who gives a fuck about that? Well, the people who really cares about those things are the people that are in the world. If you're in the world, then those are the things that you would put your heart to, put your mind to, your love. These are the things that you will concentrate on, and the devil loves that. The devil loves the fact that you're not concentrating on him, and then at the end of the day, you're sitting by and you're wondering why things have changed the way that they've changed. Well, it's because you weren't paying attention. You were hit with bullshit information where the true information has been going on either right in front of your face or behind your back. You know, there's a saying in the world, and it says the greatest trick that the devil ever played was convincing the world that he didn't exist. Well, the devil, aka Esau Edom, has convinced you that he has become a beacon of light. He has convinced you that, he's not doing anything against you but for you, when in fact he's the main culprit in the earth that's feeding you all of this bullshit. And and you people of the world just eating it up. Continuing on with these bullet points. It can also feel like your mind can't keep up with everything happening around you. It can also feel like images and sounds are coming at you much faster than normal. And that is true. You know, they like to amaze you with glitz and glitter and glam and all this other bullshit when in fact it means nothing. All it is just I'm not gonna say a mirage. All it is just stimulation, you know, to keep your mind preoccupied in in nothing, in nothingness. A prime example of this is video games. You know, as long as you are playing video games and you're concentrated on the video games and you're not getting into the scriptures and you're not paying attention to what's going on around you, he's got you. He's got you at the point where he just needs you to sit down, relax, and shut the fuck up so that he can get his enterprise off the ground. And that enterprise is to bring in a new world order, the MOTB systems, and, you know, trying to extend his kingdom beyond the allotted time that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has set for his destruction. And at the end of the day, that's not going to happen. You know, because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has set a boundary that he shall not pass. But until that day, this devil has control over the earth. You know, the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. You know, until Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua stop letting him be the wicked of the earth. So going on with the article a little more. It feels like life is on fast forward with everything coming at you too fast. This symptom can affect one sense only. Many senses and all of your senses repeatedly. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to preoccupy your senses so that you can't concentrate on one specific thing and get an understanding of that thing. He hits you with storms, he hits you with tempests, he hits you with food shortages, he hits you with sicknesses, he hits you with diseases, he hits you with calamities, he hits you with this, he hits you with so many things to keep you angrily preoccupied. Yo, man, this devil has done a work on the people, So that had to do with, one thing. So let's look into the fast forward. And it reads, fast forward can occur occasionally, frequently, or presently, or persistently. Precede, accompany, or follow an escalation of other anxiety symptoms or occur by itself. Precede, accompany, or follow a period of nervousness, anxiety, fear, and stress, or occur out of the blue for no reason. A lot of things happens to the people where they actually perceive that it happened for no reason, which is why I brought out the book of 1 Thessalonians 5 and 4. For ye brethren are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. Nothing is happening out of the blue. For we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Here it is. This devil will turn up the oven and create some fucking heat and then turn it down just to get, a sense of the pulse of the people. That's what he does. And once he gets the required outcome of how the people would react, then the next stage is doing something that's going to really test his synopsis on his examination. In other words, he'll go ahead and test to see how you'll act when he'll cut your snap. He'll sit back and act how you'll react when you don't get paid for a month. He'll sit back and look at all these things. He'll sit back and look at how you react to all of these things. And once he gets the desired result, he's going to jump into action. And he's at the point where he's gotten most of the results that he wanted. All this devil knows is that if he starves you, you'll come running. If he turns out the lights, you'll come begging. If he puts you in danger that he controls, that you'll come giving yourself as a sacrifice for safety. That's why the scriptures say, woe unto him that go down unto Egypt for help. Because he's going to put all of these calamities before you and then know what the end result's going to be based on the test that he ran on you. So we are not ignorant to his devices, where we are not expecting something out of the blue not to happen. We expect it. So to the uninitiated, it's going to look like it happened out of the blue. For no reason. Well, why did that happen? When in fact, the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushai understands why it happened. Reading on, the range in intensity from mild to moderate to severe come in waves where it is strong one moment and eases off the next. And there's a scripture for that. Salaki, I didn't get it, but let me see if I can get it, because everything can be proven through the scriptures, you know. Um, Salakia, let me get this right quick. Let me see. The book of the book of Second Esdras, chapter 16 and verse 38. As when a woman with child in the ninth month bringeth forth her son with 2 or more hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. So here it is, this devil will do shit in cycles, and you can compare it to a menstrual cycle, a woman's menstrual cycle. I'm in no way a woman, but according to the scriptures, you know, it'll come and it'll go. It'll get a little worse and then it'll go away. Then it'll get a little worse. Well, not a menstrual cycle, but her her giving birth cycle, Salak. I misspoke. You can compare it to the birth pains of a woman, where the woman's about to give a child. It'll come and it'll go, and it'll keep coming and going. But each time it comes and goes, it's getting worse and worse as time goes along, and to the point where the woman is ready to give child, and it's no holding back. And that's what this devil is doing, and that's what this article is talking about. The range in intensity from mild to moderate to severe. That's those birth pains. And they come in waves where it's strong one moment and eases off the next. Occur for a while, subside, and then return for no reason. Well, we have the reason why it's coming back, because this devil knoweth that he hath but a short time. He knows that he's got to get this shit off the ground. So it's not ever going to slack. In fact, it's only going to get worse as time goes on. And it changes from day to day, moment to moment, and remain as a constant background during your struggle with anxiety disorder. He wants to constantly keep you in a state of fear. He wants to constantly keep you in a state of not knowing. He wants to constantly keep you in a state where, you're in fear. I might have said that earlier, but Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said this. The book of Second Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. For Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. So when you understand the scriptures and you understand what's going on and you understand what this devil is trying to do, you get a sound mind, because you understand that the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai are faithful and true. Whereas the 2/3 of you jakes, you don't know Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, so you're of this world, and of this world is where you're going to put your trust. And in that comes a very high level of not knowing what's going on. So you're in constant fear because you don't understand what's happening around you. You can't comprehend why food prices are going up. You can't comprehend why, there are storms and tempests or earthquakes in diverse places, and, wars and rumors of wars. You can't understand these things because you're spiritually discerned. Yeah, okay, you can read these things and just read them, but you read them and don't understand that you're actually in that time today because you're spiritually disconnected, let me see if I need to close out. All the above combinations and variations are common. Yeah, so all of these things are common to what a lot of people are going through, and what a lot of people will go through in the near future. And it's only going to get worse. So I'll close out on this. Let me see. The book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 22. I'm not sure if I burned this out yet, but I'll read it anyway. Except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And with the shortening of these days for the elect's sake, we won't have the anxiety of the 2/3. We won't have that anxiety of not knowing where and why things are happening and where they're happening from. We won't have what they have. We have a sense of a sound mind, as it says in the book of 2 Timothy 1:7, you know, and and that's what it's about. Having faith in the days that are coming, and being strong in the faith, putting on the whole armor of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to deal with the times that are coming, because the days that are coming are evil. We understand this. And we're also in the flesh, so let's not get it twisted. There's going to be some fearful times. We get it, but, the faith of a grain of a mustard seed, is what it's going to require at a minimum level. Believing in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and believing that He is a deliverer of those who diligently seek Him. He's our refuge. He's our fortress. These times that are coming are not for us. They're for the wicked. So that level of anxiety that a brother might have as we getting closer and closer to the days of evil, he need to pray on that. We need to pray on that and put these things off, because that's just a demon, because Yahweh Shem Yahushua has not given us a spirit of fear. Anyhow, I think you get the point. A lot of people are going through anxieties and stresses of the world today, but the elect, we should have a sound mind, knowing that we're doing the work of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and we're going to be delivered, out of all of our troubles, So with that, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakaha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.